Hello, and welcome to Stage Screen and In Between with Helen. I'm Helen Primus. Well, life goes on. The 23rd Annual Long Island International Film Expo will show virtual and drive-in movies from September 30th to October 8th. Now, the drive-ins will just be on Friday, October 2nd, and Saturday, October 3rd. And those are going to be held by Ralph, Marie, and Michelle Sharduli, who own Limpacum, the Long Island Museum of Motion Pictures, and they have a fabulous big screen. And the location for that is behind the old Fortunoff in the old Source Mall. Now it's called a Samania Mall. So that'll be there. And we're going to miss Ann and Henry Stanfeld because we're not going to be at the Belmore movies this year. And we love, love, love them. But at least we're getting to see fabulous films by independent filmmakers. And I want to give a shout out to Deborah Markowitz, who hooked me up with this really great interview I'm going to have with fabulous actors, writers, filmmakers, all one and the same. And they have a terrific movie called Taxicab Ride with Jesus. So we have Russ Camardra and Dan Brennan. Hey guys,
Hi.
Welcome to my red carpet.
Oh, it's fantastic. You look amazing.
Thank you. I look good from here up.
Well, you don't want to see what we're doing down here, so it's okay.
Oh, so you guys, I'm telling you, you're quite a team. Now, the last time that you were at Long Island Film together, didn't you have a great movie together that was really very well liked by the festival?
Yeah, we've done a bunch. We did Video Guys. We did Night Never Sleeps.
Right.
And then we've done some shorts also. Yeah.
Yeah, the one you probably
Video Guys, I think, was the big one that you did there in 2009 that everybody kind of loved. So tell us something about Taxicab Ride with Jesus. Now, Dan, you're the director and the writer and an actor in it. You're the cab driver.
Well,
right?
Yeah, I'm the director and the writer, but Russ also wrote a lot of it, and Russ edited it, and a lot of people need to understand that.
You better change your IMDb, honey, because you're just getting the credit.
Yeah, realistically, it's kind of 50-50 on everything, and that's the way me and Russ have always worked.
I know, you're quite a team. Now, Russ, you play Jesus.
Yes, I do.
Did you flip a coin for that one? I mean, how did you decide who was going to be Jesus?
Let me tell that story. I real quick. I'm pitching the movie to Russ, and Russ is listening, and he's kind of like this sounds crazy. Well, who the hell's going to play Jesus? I said you, and he goes, oh, okay, I could do that. Didn't hesitate for a second. It's like, of course I could do Jesus, no problem.
So who came up with the idea? Was it you, Dan?
Yeah, it was by accident. I was driving home one day. I shared an Uber with Burt Young, the actor from Rocky. Yeah. And I just started talking to him, and I thought, wow, what a great movie if you shared a cab with a celebrity. And then we started going back and forth. Well, Taxicab Ride with Hitler, Taxicab Ride with Lincoln. And then Jesus just seemed to be the most interesting. And one of the things that Russ has turned me on to is a lot of this, self-improvement. That it's like Jesus is reinventing Catholicism based on now he's 2020 years older, so he has a slightly different feeling as to how he's being interpreted, and a lot of those ideas came from Russ in the script, which I think is really the strength of the whole movie.
Now, are you religious, either one of you?
I Catholic school as a kid, but really, cafeteria Catholic now. Just, the funny thing is, me and Russ tell Russ how much time we do spend in church.
Yeah, well, most of our career we've been wedding photographers and videographers, so we've been in every possible denomination of religion you can imagine for 30 years. So we spend more time in church than most people, but I'm not.
Well, hence that's how I think you came up with that movie Video Guys, right? That was
exactly.
A wedding and et cetera, et cetera. Now, what do you think about the way Jesus is portrayed in your film?
Well, Russ did something very brilliant. Yeah, Russ also produced this movie. And when it came time to put us in festivals, he very deliberately made sure not to put it in as a religious movie. And Russ, why don't you talk about that?
Well, it's not. It's really not a religious movie. I think it's about. I think what Dan and I were trying to say was about self-reliance and about what man's place is in the whole scheme of things as being part of God and part of a grander scheme. And since we don't come at it from a religious perspective, we didn't want it to come out preachy one way or the other. It comes out more of a self-reliant kind of self-focused character. So I mean, when you go to play a character like that, you got to decide how you're going to do it. So I had some definite ideas, but I also because to me it's a mythical character, so you could go any number of ways with it. But I did want to have some faith to the whatever the written text or wherever the gospels were. So I picked and choose kind of aspects of his character that I would bring into this new thing that Dan was kind of coming up with, this 2020 version of him. So there's a little bit of his doubt and a little bit of his rage from from the gospels.
That's interesting. You said that he's mythical. I would think he's more mysterious than he is mythical. No.
Well, I
mean, do you think he's real?
I think in all likelihood, I'm not a historian, so I couldn't tell you if there was an actual realistic, actual physical Jesus. Maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. That's up to faith. But for this particular character, the character itself is so iconic for people either of faith or even people who are not Christian. They know the character of Jesus, so there's a picture that comes into your head. So when you're playing it as an actor, you have to decide how do you want to represent that picture. So that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. I think you have a touch of comedy in this, don't you?
Yes.
Well, the only direction Russ got from me was that Jesus is going to dinner, he's well dressed, and he's in a bad mood.
Right.
Which I think is, because that to me, because Jesus was a man. And also I think when Russ is talking about mythical, this version of Jesus kind of is mythical because, this Jesus hasn't come back. Obviously, there was a Jesus 2020 years ago, but this one, who knows?
If he's coming back, he might not let a lot of people know because look what happened to him the last time, might keep that under his hat a little bit, Yeah.
Well, Russ has a line in the movie where he says, I say, hey, the last time you came down here, it didn't work out for you. And he says, yeah, I told my father if I go down there, they're going to freaking crucify me. And that's exactly what happened. and that's one of the funnier lines in the movie. But it's also, like, as Russ says, it's really about self-reliance. Because I always had the feeling, and this is some of the stuff that Russ taught me, is that the Catholic Church teaches you that if you give, that's where you're going to find joy in life. So you're always giving and you're always giving, you're always taking care of others, but you're not taking care of yourself. So what happens is all of a sudden your whole life is over and you've dedicated it to other people and you're incredibly unhappy and you're miserable. And it's like, wait a minute, you have to take care of yourself too. And he takes this great quote from the Bible about there was nobody to pass the cup to.
I heard that in the movie. Yeah. In the trailer. I think you're right about that. There's so much of a feeling that you have to do for others that when you finally say, you know what, I'm taking time for me because this one displeases me, that one displeases me. I'm taking time for me. You look in the mirror and you don't even know who you're looking at. You're like, oh my God, all this time's gone by, So there is a lot of truth in that, I believe.
Sure, and it's not just self-reliance and taking time for yourself, but it's about abdicating your responsibility to some other force, like something else is responsible for what's going to happen to me or what I'm going to do or what. It's about taking that power back and saying I'm part of the whole thing. Jesus was a man, right, and he was divine at the same time. So the message, I think, of the film, if you want to come up with any kind of message, is that we're all that. We're all physical and divine, and you have to take responsibility in that and own it. Own your place in it, and good things come your way.
Yeah. Now, I want to say these two gentlemen are wonderful actors. They definitely are. But Dan, you also have two daughters that are very good actresses, right?
That's what they tell me.
Are they still doing?
Yeah, my one daughter, she graduated USC on a scholarship for screenwriting.
Is that Diana?
That's Sabrina. And then my other daughter, Diana, has an agent. She's also out in LA.
I'm going to choke.
Oh, don't choke.
I'm taking a sip. Go ahead.
No, and my other daughter is an actress in LA, and she has an agent, and she's going on audition. But it's I can't there was a perfect part in this movie for one of my daughters, and I couldn't get either of them to do it because now they're off doing their own stuff. Dad is.
They don't need daddy.
Well, I think they look at me as a little crazy. I think they look at me as like, Dick Van Dyke from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's just, Dad's in his garage with his crazy ideas.
Hey, but look at it this way. You got the one daughter, who is it, Sabrina, that's in California, did you say?
Well, they're both in California now.
Well, Sabrina is the one, is she the one that's pursuing acting?
No, Sabrina is a screenwriter, but she's also an actor. But Diana is pursuing acting. Yeah.
Oh, so maybe they'll write something for you for a change.
I can guarantee that's never going to happen, but that's that's totally fine.
Well, now, has COVID-19 stunted your growth?
Well, Russ is the expert in that particular department.
Stunted our growth. Well, I wasn't getting any bigger anyway, so it worked out.
Professionally.
Professionally. Well, professionally, I actually had COVID back in March. So.
Did you really?
Yeah, I had it.
Bad. He had it very bad. He's being, he's being modest.
Were you hospitalized?
No, luckily I didn't have to go to the hospital, but I had a good 14 days of bad stuff. But as far as professionally, I think we're turning the corner. Like, it was a good break for everybody to kind of reassess things. So I think we're turning the corner, and I think, in the next couple of months, things will shift and we'll be able to start doing. Dan's already writing things. We're already looking to start getting back into it again, but I wouldn't worry about it.
Do you think that there's a message in this COVID? Do you think that there's a divine purpose, or it just kind of happened? There's no reason.
Well, I think there's a message in everything. You just have to pay attention. The universe is always kind of whispering to you. Again, my belief is you're part of the whole thing anyway. So like I said, if you look at it, again, a lot of people suffered, obviously a lot worse than I did. They lost people. I know people who lost people. So those are deep, deep tragedies. But for the rest of us, it's a break. It's a chance to focus in, reassess, maybe find a new way to do things that you didn't necessarily think of doing before because you have to, you're forced to. It's growing pains in a universal way. So, but we're on our way out of it.
Right. So, when you work together, are you kind of like brothers now? You've spent so much time together.
Well, yeah, this actually leads to a story that I want to tell.
Go ahead.
There's the best scene in the movie, in my opinion, is when the two of us are standing outside the hospital, and we start to shout at each other. And Russ has this amazing monologue, which he wrote, by the way. It's an amazing monologue. And Russ will tell you this: it starts to rain, and we only have the place for another maybe 40 minutes, and we can't shoot in the rain, as our DP, the guy that was helping us out that day, says. So Russ says, no, it's not going to rain. It's not going to rain. And like the rain stops. We get our 2 takes. They're perfect. And I just looked at him. I'm like, where did that come from?
It was divine intervention.
It was hilarious.
I said, you want me to play this part? I'm going to go all the way.
The power of positive thinking.
Right. It's the best scene in the movie. And it's all on him. And he's really got to nail it because it's a very tough monologue. But it was perfect. And that was the end of the day. It was the end of like a 12-hour day. We didn't rehearse it. We just did 2 takes and that was it. That's the other thing which is really funny is, you talk about brothers and finishing each other's sentences. We just like have our own responsibilities and we just go.
Yeah.
Like, we don't go to set and say, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's like, like I'll start something, he'll finish it or vice versa.
Yeah, you got to remember, Dan and I have been doing this together since like 19. We started in the theater together in 1993, or 1992 or something when we first met. So 26 years or 28 years, and we always had basically the same sensibility on how you do this anyway. That's beside even knowing each other. So you mix that together for 30 years, and we can do a lot pretty simply without even talking about it.
Yeah. So now this is a Long Island film. It was shot on Long Island. Where did you shoot it? What towns?
Well, let's see.
Huntington,
Amityville.
Amityville, right? Amityville,
Amityville.
right? Huntington, Amityville, Lindenhurst, Port Washington, all different spots for different pieces.
Oh, Port Washington was the
So
camp.
how many days did it take you to shoot this over a period of time?
Well, we spread it out. I mean, obviously, when you're doing this kind of thing, your resources are low, so you're just kind of banking on whatever you can pull off and favors you can pull in. And we've been doing that for 30 years too. So we did it probably over 2 months, but that's 2 months with a day here and a day there, so maybe 10 days,
Tops.
15 days.
Okay,
Maybe.
I have a question. Why is it Taxicab Ride with Jesus? Why not Uber?
That's a great point. It's a visual medium, so it's very important for the cab to be kind of a character. So the old cab sign, it just gets you right into it if you see the cab sign. And by the way, that was my car, and we went to a prop house in Manhattan, and we got a magnet that goes on the top of my car, and we just used my car as
great idea.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't notice. Is your car yellow?
It's not yellow. The car's actually gray, but it's shot at night, so you never really get a good shot of.
Oh, that's very clever. Very clever. Good for you.
The other practical part of it is, you want the dispatcher, and Uber doesn't really have a dispatcher. You want to hear that voice of the guy,
That's true.
You want to have the cab stand. Like it's got iconic kind of stuff that Uber. Plus, I think you'd have to get Uber on board if you wanted to use Uber. We'd have to call it something.
Yeah, you might. Right. You might have to pay them a royalty or something.
Yeah. And Russ made a really good point. He's like, you don't want to say, cab ride or the dark angel. Like when you say taxi cab ride with Jesus, people know exactly what they're getting. And it's like, all right, this is either going to be really horrible. It's going to be very interesting, but it makes people very curious. So when the movie starts, you're already in it because the title is in itself your imagination, and it kind of gets you going.
Well, I think you're absolutely right about that, because when you go down the list of all the films that are in the festival, I think there's 150 this year. Yours jumps out. That would be like one you check off. Like, I got to see this one. I got to see this one. And I got to see this on Wednesday, October 7th at 7:30 p.m. time block. That's when I got to see it virtually.
That's right. Well, that was all Dan. Dan was, we went back and forth on, think you should call it this, think you should call it that. But he was like,
no, but the end of the conversation is Russ, by the way, edited an amazing film. And again, people don't realize that editing is directing. When you're editing, that's 50% of movie. No, it really is. But he literally calls me up and he's like, all right, so what are we doing? And I said, well, I'm thinking, taxi cab ride with Jesus. And he goes, well, what about cab ride with Jesus? And I go, well, he goes, you know what? Fine. Taxi cab. Sounds good. All right, cool. I'll be back.
Well, you know what? That has both words in it. Because if you say taxi cab, you got the cab in there. So how could you not be happy?
No, but it's also the way we work. It's like if one of us just insists once, the other one just backs down. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. That's what you want, fine. Like I think I wanted to put Russ in like a light, and he's like, no, I really like this tie. I'm fine, go with the purple tie. Fine, sounds good. That's nice. Because so much of movie making is not that.
Yeah.
That's nonsense. It's all just go in and perform. That's
married couples should get along as well as you two guys.
Well, we don't live together, so it helps.
That works.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. So now, what's on your burner for the future? You have anything percolating?
Yeah, we're writing something now called Deadline about a small town newspaper where there's a serial killer in the small town who's writing to one of the reporters. and suddenly the reporter becomes nationally famous and what happens is the newspaper is going out of business. So the serial killer wants to save the newspaper. So in order to save the newspaper, he starts killing people and then sending this woman letters. And then because all of a sudden the newspaper becomes this sensation. So the question is, do we let the newspaper make lots and lots of money, or do we try and catch this guy? And so it's kind of a dark comedy about the media.
Wasn't it Son of Sam? Wasn't he doing something like that? Sending in clues to the paper because he wanted publicity?
Yeah, it's another version of Hannibal Lecter, and of course Russ will be a perfect serial killer. He's absolutely perfect.
I've seen him in some of the movies. He plays a miserable person so convincingly.
He does. Iceman. What people forget about Night Never Sleeps is that Night Never Sleeps is a great script by Mike Lavagno, but Russ literally invented Iceman and wrote all of his lines. And it's just incredible, from the tattoo to the fake eye to just this whole sense of like, he's just so crazy. And I'll never forget, at the end of the Hoboken Film Festival, I'm standing outside, feeling like so proud of myself. And all these big, tough guys come walking up to us. Hey, Iceman, you were amazing. You were incredible. It's just so hysterical.
And now he'll be so convincing as Jesus that people are going to go up to him with all their problems looking for help.
The guys,
I'm terrified about the questions on that one. Different kind of fans.
But seriously, I think it's definitely for cafeteria Catholics or for people who are in. I don't think it's, I think if you're a priest or a bishop, you're not going to like it because it's not based on the Bible. It's what would happen if Jesus walked in the door 2,020 years later. It can't be based on the Bible because he's here today. And
what about George Burns? He did that movie, Oh God, wasn't it?
That's right.
That he kind of had offhanded comments about things, and
when you watch
he would say something like, "You were praying to me. You were looking for help. Well, I can't help everybody." And they're like, "What, are you kidding? You can't help everybody?" Well, it's a big world. There's a lot of people.
That's right.
Well, it's funny when you see the movie. We do eventually see God at the end of the movie.
Yes.
And it's played by the great Ed Cryer, who's also been in all of our movies. And it does have kind of a George Burns feel to it, the way you just said. And that's the end of the movie is really amazing. Especially there's a closing emotional sequence that Russ edited with this incredibly beautiful piece of music. And it's just everybody that watches it cries. And
where do you get your music from?
Well, this was one piece of music we got just through.
We purchased a couple of different pieces from different artists, so you can get some different licenses from. Most of the time, we have composers that we work with all the time, but this particular one we sourced from different individual artists.
And then we got Vin Nigro to mix the movie, and he's just amazing. I mean, what he does with audio, he literally turns it into just, because audio tells you how to feel. It just does.
And he fixed. We make a lot of mistakes on the set, so he fixes all our mistakes and makes us sound good.
Yeah. Who was your cinematographer?
Sean King, actually, who worked with us on Night Never Sleeps and another film I did way back, Night for Day and stuff. I've worked with Sean a lot. He did Send No Flowers to those Fred Carpenter's movies we did a few years ago. He's a great friend, and he was happy to help us out. We kind of worked as a team together, but he was the main eye for the whole thing.
And
so how do you feel about your movie being in the Long Island International Film Expo? Isn't that so exciting?
The best. It's our favorite film festival. It's a great movie town, Long Island.
It is.
Really,
it is.
Really.
And it's so cool. It's one of the coolest festivals in the whole world.
And what is this? Like 22 years?
This is the 23rd anniversary. 23rd annual Long Island International Film Expo.
So that's no joke.
Now, you guys, would you like to give out your website or where we can find out more or follow you, see what you're up to? Want to give out that information?
Well, just first for the movie, you can just go to YouTube and you can just type in Taxicab Ride with Jesus trailer, and you'll find it that way.
On YouTube, Taxicab Ride with Jesus, The
And-
trailer is
Yeah,
there.
The trailer is there, and then I guess you can let us know again the date. You have it in front of you, the screening date.
Yes, it's going to be virtually on Wednesday, October 7th, the 7:30 time block.
Okay,
Get your tickets online at longislandfilm.com.
awesome. And I'm going to be hopefully in October. I'm recording a bunch of them now, but I'm finally pressed the button on. I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to host a
Oh,
podcast.
cool.
So
Cool. That's the in thing.
it's going to be called Art, Craft, Truth, and it's going to be talking to all different kinds of artists, musicians, comedians, actors, all different, interviewing about how they do what
Very
they do. So
cool.
hopefully by mid to late October, I'll launch that. And so look for Art, Craft, Truth where you get your podcasts.
Very, very
And if I
good.
could do one more shout out to Sean King. 95% of that movie, we're sitting in a car that's not moving.
That's right.
The car was literally in a driveway, and Sean developed this whole thing of, moving lights and fake backgrounds and all sorts of stuff. But most of the times the car's not moving, which was really an amazing thing that he did.
Right.
Well, gentlemen, our time is up.
All right. That's why
It was so good to see you guys. I haven't seen you in years. And I'm so glad that you're still doing your thing. And I saw the trailer and it's really cool, and good luck with it, honestly.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
You're very welcome. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Great show.